What's cooking, Gumbo Nation? You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Steiner right here on iHeartRadio, and I'm your host, Dwayne Stein, the Gulf South Mortgage Authority. And welcome. This is the home show where for 10 plus years we've been providing education and options on what is or will be your largest investment, most valuable asset, your home. If you're new to the Gumbo Nation, glad to have you here. First show of 2025. Super excited. Hey, if you want to join the show, 504-260-0995, or you can shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com for all those trolls out there. Excited. Got another great year, ahead of us. Glad to be here. A lot of good stuff today. We're going to kind of be talking about, hey, what are some rate predictions? Where are they going? Whether it's rates, inventory. Is this your year? Annual tradition. We go over our 10 commandments when getting a mortgage. We could have that. Literally, we could discuss that every single week. We could go one by one, and I could tell you stories of how folks lost out or how they benefited. And so a great show planned for you. But want to make sure, Gumbo Nation, just to say thanks and get that out to you. Hey, 2024 is behind us. I would say you talk about a topsy-turvy, and let's face it, really, the last couple years. But I want to just say thank you for the trust. We've been telling you now, hey, we're going to guide you through these choppy waters that I've been doing this for 30 years. You could count on me. We're going to be here for you, and your trust is appreciated. We will be, for the 6th straight year, recognized by Scotsman's Guide as top originator, top mortgage advisor, top producer, and I don't take that lightly. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. So very proud of that, and it's because of you. This is why I do this every single week, and to have your trust and more of you, what is so important to me is the continuation of, hey, mom told me to call, dad told me to call, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle. This is what it's all about. And, we are your home, first-time home buyers. We help everybody, but first-time home buyers is a major part of our business, and I don't take that lightly, and I love showing people how to get into their first home and how to make sure and look at it as the asset that it is, and how to use it as a wealth-building tool, and how even though when you're in a challenged rate environment, how you can still win. And those are the things that we're doing, we continue to do, and then going from there. 2022, there was 423 loan officers. And I've been telling you there was way too many for a long time. Just came out after renewals for 2024, down to 93,000. So 3/4 of the loan officers are gone. And this is when we talk about the strong will survive. And do you know who you're working with, right? And those are the things there that, look, I stand my ground on this and am proud of to be there. And to be honest with you, it should probably be about 25,000 loan officers, to be 100% honest with you. And this is why it's so important right now in this market as you head into 2025. And a lot of you are like, okay, because we see the volume picking up, right? Even though the rates aren't necessarily cooperating, we see people finally going, okay. And I think after today's show, when I tell you what the rate predictions are for this year, you're going to go, you know what? The heck with this. I just got to jump in. And, the one of the things, keep this in mind. Last year, over 50% of the loan officers averaged less than 1 unit a month. Less than 1 unit a month is what the average loan officer is, what 50% of the loan officers. 74% of realtors, 74% of realtors did not do a transaction. So do your homework, folks. This is, as we always say in the show, in the intro, This is your largest investment, most valuable asset. You need to be working with folks that know how to get business done, that can get business done. And, I'm proud again to be recognized as one of the top producers by Scotsman's Guide. Again, 6 straight years. Number 1 retail lender in the nation. So pretty proud of that. And that's because of you, the Gumbo Nation. And that's because we've got the tools to get to say yes when so many others say no. Closed a loan this week in 7 days. In 7 days. And so many of you listening are going, I know somebody that had that exact situation. But we had 7 days we closed the loan this week. So we got this file right the day before Christmas. And, great job. Just got married. Super nice folks. And had some income, but went to 5 other. And look, my thing, I asked the realtors, what took you so long? 5 other lenders that had the loan from the middle of October. And I got a loan done in 7 days that 5 other lenders had for over 60 days. And it's a matter of when you're working with folks that don't know what they're doing, don't have the capacity, and because I'm in these chat rooms, and it's, hey, I'm a new LO. What do you recommend? What is this? What is that? Folks, this is your most valuable asset. And not only we got it done in 7 days, we got them in a program that saved them about $10,000 of down payment that they were being told by other folks. So it's not a matter of can I, it's a matter of how. And that's what my team and that's what we do over here at Mortgage Gumbo. So, again, I just want to say thank you for that, and we will continue to be on here. Look, everything we give doesn't come with rose petals. We said we're going to navigate these waters, and we're going to continue to. And that's why, but we're here to give you the information to help you be educated and understand the value of home ownership and understand what that brings to you. Credit, all those type of things, reverse mortgages, talk about volume picking up on that. It's amazing. You baby boomers, it's worth a phone call. It's worth a phone call for us to discuss reverse mortgages, renovations, construction, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing out there that in reality that we can't get done for you. So excited about that. So we're going to be talking about over the course of the show, again, kind of getting you prepped up, New Year's resolutions, and all that fun stuff. But want to shout out to my producer, Dave DeCorbier. I mean, this guy behind the scenes, he shouldn't be. He should be in front because maybe not too far in front because he's handsomely challenged like I am. You know what I'm saying? But
jerk.
But Dave, talk about, man, look, we don't get the credit, but we're kind of geeks, man, right? We've talked about this. I'm a numbers geek, man, and, I'm the stocky, ball-headed guy, and you'd look at me and go, oh, no way, more like a guy that I need to go run through a wall versus, I'm this numbers guy, and you do the geek show, man, and all that. But, man, I'm so happy for you and proud of you because you're getting recognized. Tell everybody what you've been up to and where you're going to be next weekend and kind of tell them where they can find you and all that stuff, man. I'm proud of you, bro.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. So, next weekend we got Fan Expo NOLA. It used to be Wizard World. It's the big, giant Comic Con that's at the Montreal Convention Center. Comes in usually like the first week of January. And for the first time after like 10 years, I get to be an MC and a panel moderator for the celebrities. So, I'm pretty stoked about that. I get to get up on the main stage and talk to celebrities, and I was told I can't take any selfies with them. So
okay, all right.
But hey,
yeah, they might want to take them with you though, so that right? You'll allow.
You know who I am? I got a face for radio.
That's
Look
right.
at me.
That's right. That's right.
And so we're gonna be doing that, and then today's Saturday. So Monday morning, I'm going to be on Fox 8 talking about that and my show, The Week in Geek, heard here on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. And, man, I've been doing the show like 11 years now, and so
that's awesome, man.
Finally kind of getting some traction. Took a minute, but I'm niche, I talk video games, comic books, movies. I don't deal with politics. I don't deal with well, I do talk sports because I'm
Yeah.
a Saints fan.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I steer clear of sports and politics and religion, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice little fun little show, and I've been doing it for a while. And so now they're paying me to go to the con this year, Dwayne. They're paying me.
So,
And
so
yeah.
somebody listening, kind of, what is, because when you say Comic Con and all that, I mean, I know, comic book. Like, what can somebody like sell me on? Hey, why people need to really look at going over there, and which just outside of cool, like why it'd be good for somebody to take their kid over there and check it out.
So it's really good for kids. Saturday is just jam packed, so make sure you hold your kid's hand.
Uh-huh.
But they've got kid zones where they do all kinds of just silly activities. But it's like a giant shopping mall / trade show, and so they've got all kinds of weird things: lightsabers, T-shirts, just all kinds of weird, wacky stuff that you usually can't find, like even on the internet sometimes. But the celebrities, it's not just like they got William Shatner and what's her name from T.J. Hooker, and so they've got celebrities there for the older crowd, and then the newer crowd where they got anime voice actors. They've got big celebrities. The entire cast of Back to the Future, including Michael J. Fox,
Wow.
is going to be there this weekend. I didn't pull that panel, unfortunately, but like Manny Jacinto, like just these guys who've done a lot of Star Wars stuff. Oh, and your boy Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad, and
Oh, cool.
good Lord, so many things. So it's really cool because then you can kind of get in line and get a selfie with the celebrities or get them the autograph stuff. And they're all super cool and nice and talk to you. I mean, they really understand that without the fans, they would be nothing. And so that makes these celebrities really kind of stand out in your mind because they're not there just like, hey, what's up, moron? Here, give me $20. No,
Right.
they're like, hey, well, thank you for following me and telling me how much you like my movies and stuff. So it's really cool, good fun family activity for the weekend. So it's awesome, dude. That's all I can say.
That's good, man. So get out there, go check it out, and it's at the
Morial Convention Center. I think it's going to be all the way at the end, usually like Hall H or whatever, kind of like when you get right off the interstate at Chapatoulas, just
Yep.
pop in there. And parking's like $20, but I mean you're right there in the convention center parking lot. So
So
you
good
go.
job, man. Look, be able
Thank
to
you,
go
bro.
check out Dave MCing, man. And hey, if you hear him in This Week in Geek or Mortgage Gumbo, throw that out at him, man. Help him out, let him know, and then tune in Monday, right? Fox 8.
Yeah,
You know what
Monday
time?
right at 11 a.m. I'll be first out of the gate on NOLA Next. You know their little morning
Yeah.
show they have with
Yeah.
Shelby Latino. So I'll be sitting on the couch rocking my cowboy hat and just talking all kinds of nerdy stuff. It'll
Awesome,
be a blast,
man.
buddy.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
That's awesome. Good stuff. You heard it there, Gumbo. Go check it out next week, the little NOLA Fest, Comic Con. Go geek out. Take your kids out there. Check it out. Go see our boy, Dave DeCorbier. All right, when we get back on the other side of the break, what's 2025 going to look like? We've got Ray predictions. Just got a great question over. We'll get to that. And then goals to get to the 10 Commandments of getting a mortgage. Like to try to get that done the first show of every year. Been doing it 10 years. So, kind of the goal there. So we'll go over that. And then, hey, the top 6 resolutions. Where do you compare to that? You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio 504 260 0995. Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio. Hey, if you want to join the show, 504-260-0995. Home away from the show, 504-207-7600. Heck, just Google Dwayne Stein, Google Mortgage Gumbo. You can find us all on social media. Got a bunch of people hanging out. Maybe their New Year's resolution, based on what I'm seeing on social media this morning, is get a little more educated. Here's the top 6 New Year's resolutions. Save 21% of New Year's is save money. 19% is eat healthier. 17% exercise more. 15% is lose weight. I think they could have kind of combined those. But 14%, so number 5, spend more time with family. And then 9% is quit smoking. So I'm not a smoker, but I get that. And now I wonder if quit smoking means, I'm not in the vape world, but like is vaping considered quitting smoking? I wonder.
Probably. I
Yeah.
mean, it's nicotine based.
Right? So like if you don't hit a cigarette, but you vape, have you won?
There's always that one jackwagon who likes to vape in a grocery store or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, really? Like,
Inconspicuous, right?
Yeah,
kind of
right.
holding it in their hand, like they're blowing in their hair, like
They
don't have
cover
no
their whole mouth. It's
yeah,
like, what
don't
are you doing?
no clue what you're doing there. So that's the top 6 New Year's resolutions. Listen, not to be corny here, but ours is the same. We've had it for 30 plus years. You hear it every morning, every week when we open up the show, and that's to keep providing education options and to become your most trusted mortgage advisor. At the end of the day, that is what we do. We're going to be rolling out a lot of new things in 2025. We're gathering. We've got a team we're putting together. Our Total Home Authority continues to be a priority. We're going to be doing a lot more. So, look, if you're thinking about listing your home, selling your home, guess what? We're not just going to be all about buyers. We're going to help out sellers too. So get with Mortgage Gumbo, and we could talk about what we could do for you there as well. So, hey, it's always a fun time of year, when everybody's got everything going on. And, I more or less, the New Year's resolutions, I kind of wait for Lent, and that's when I crank it up a little bit there. But pretty good stuff there. And it's all a norm. So that's your 6 resolutions there. So good for you. So, all right. So let's kind of start. And right off the bat, look, and I got this question a lot over the last couple weeks, because we were out last week. So, our last show was on the 21st. Heck, so you're looking at almost, 14 days since we did our last show. And, one of the big questions is, Dwayne, what would you say to the home buyer who wants to wait for rates to come down? And I'm with you. And we're going to talk about this today. And I want to remind everybody of this. Every 1% that rates drop, 5 million more eligible buyers enter the market. That's just not a statement I'm making up. That comes from the National Association of Realtors, okay? And when you look at this and these headlines that are out there, okay, and they talk about inventory and how inventory's opening up. And at the end of the day, folks, a few things. We're coming into the year with 27% more inventory than compared to 2024. We'll take it. We'll take more inventory, period. But what they don't tell you in the headlines, because headlines are clickbait. I get it. Everybody, I wish I was better at teasing and this and that. I don't know how to be, right? It's not, manipulation's not in my mind, because at the end of the day, if that was the case, I could come on here and be like, ask me about 3% mortgage rates. And then you call me and I go, well, I meant buying 3 points, 3%, something like that. I'm not about that. But according to reports, we always breaking out these new terms, and it's called stale inventory, right? So you hear, hey, inventory's up 27%. but stale inventory, which is homes that have remained unsold on the market. We've been talking about this. Gumbo Nation, this is the beauty. And if you're new, welcome. And this is why the show's becoming so popular. We've been educating you on it. Sometimes we might not have the fancy word, but it's amazing. They always kind of line up with what we've been talking about for months, and it comes out on a report. 54.5% of November home listings remained unsold for 60 days or for at least 60 days. So it becomes what they consider stale at 60 days, right? The average home that went under contract took 43 days. Folks, go back and listen to the past shows. In November, we talked about what it's taking in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and all that, right? So that is the slowest pace since 2019. And what this talks about is this, is, in my opinion, this is proof that folks may want to sell but don't have to sell. And this is a big discussion I have with my buyers all the time. Hey, there's an offer. The house has been on the market for 62 days. They're asking $300,000. We're going to go in at $260,000. Okay? And this is why I always ask my buyers, let me speak with your realtor. Or if it's somebody who comes to us and we provide the realtor for them, which is what we recommend, come to us first, then this doesn't happen because you got to understand they want to sell but don't have to sell. And that's why it's so important to have a team, because $300,000, it's been on the market 60 days. Buyer goes, I'm going to go in and offer $260,000. I'm like, you're not going to get that. And sure enough, they didn't, right? But at the same time, let's see how to win. This is what we do. Let's go offer them $290,000 and ask for some closing costs. Because at the end of the day, if the house don't appraise, then we'll cross that bridge at that time. But you can't insult folks. You got to keep in mind, a lot of these folks that are selling, it's a 1-2, and why is that? Because maybe they're selling a home that's at a 2.6 or 3% or under 4% rate. So it's a want to sell, not necessarily a have to sell. They could go back to renting that property. And a lot of these homes, it's maybe second homes. It's maybe corporate. I'm dealing with a couple corporate reloads right now. So they're going to get their money one way or the other. So that's where you just got to make sure as you do this, you understand what you're working with and working through. Okay? But it's a feel good, and it's good. We'll take that inventory is up. But you've got to understand behind the click of inventory up 27% going into this year. If you're not a fan of Mortgage Gumbo or don't listen or don't follow, you hear that and you're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go lowball me some offers. And I get it. But that's why we kind of give you the footnotes, right? Nobody wants to talk about the footnotes. That's why we kind of share this. And, you know, hey, they're talking about why rates aren't falling right now. Pending home sales up 5% from in October and November. And up 6% from last year. Well, in August and September is when the rates were bottoming out. We had our lowest rates in almost 18 months, and there was a free-for-all, right? So that's what you're seeing right now. And that's fine. People took advantage. This is what we talk about all the time. Be ready. Are you ready to take advantage? So that's what I want you to understand, right? But when you see these headlines, hey, active listings, 12.1, up 12.1%, all this kind of stuff. In reality, folks, if you go back to 2019, what they consider pre-pandemic, it's down 32% listing activity. And the whole point of me saying this is why being educated before you go out and make that offer. The rate is a number on a piece of paper, and I'm going to explain that to you shortly. But what you got to understand is you got to know how to make this offer, and if you're really, really serious about it, and be able to attack and make a good offer to start achieving that goal and start building that wealth of home ownership. And that is what we're going to do here. That's what we do every single week. And at the end of the day, the other thing that you've got is, and we've talked about this, right? And, when you look at 700,000 households or now renters not sold due to the immigration, people have to sleep somewhere, right? They housing, this, that, and the other. Well, folks, when you start looking at that, you start looking at Airbnbs, you start looking at all those things. These are houses that aren't hitting the market, right? And you got a couple percent, maybe a percent to, I don't know what the exact number is, of houses that just become dilapidated, unlivable, tear downs, right? That blighted house. So those happen. So that's what you got to understand is what are you competing with? And that's the purpose of the show. So as you're listening right now and your resolution is, hey, I want to buy a house in 2025, right? You got to understand exactly what you're looking at and what you're heading into. And that is what's very important. Because I know a lot of you are listening and you're going, okay, hey, my New Year's resolution is to get a house. Couple I spoke to Wednesday. Fiance getting married later on in the year. Fiance is graduating from nursing school in May. He's a delivery driver, W-2 job. What steps should he take? And the number one thing I told him was, where's your credit? And everybody, you're going to read all it. Go Google. What do you need to do? Get your finances in order, this and that. Listen, your credit's going to determine what loan program, which is going to determine your path. So depending on that credit score, and again, credit doesn't intimidate us at Mortgage Gumbo. That's my realm. We dedicate a whole month of February to credit because we're always getting everybody ready to go for that spring buying season, which now there's not buying seasons, folks. I mean, you'll have people that have put more houses on the market in the spring, but buying now, it's a year-round thing. But why is credit? Because that's going to determine the loan program, your credit score, which then does what? Affects down payment. And then we know, what are you finding? Hey, this program we got to go with, you got to put down X amount to qualify. Or this program, there's nothing you got to put down. But that program will also determine how much can that seller that we're not going to lowball, how much can they pay in my seller-paid closing costs and my concessions to where I come out of pocket. See, that's why we look at credit first. Because then once we know that, then we get the income, then we dial everything in. We now know what loan program. Then I could kind of send you out into the world to make offers and be strong and understand what you're doing. And keep in mind, these credit karmas, all these things you get, these are for reporting purposes. And sometimes I got to be the bearer of bad news on that when people say, hey, my credit is and look, I go to snapsendandsave.com. Upload it. We'll look at it. It's a free credit review. Free buying power. We'll have a discussion. But keep in mind, those are reporting purposes only. So we see what your credit is, and then that is what's most important, because once we have that dialed in, we can then go in the direction of what loan program and then finding out how much money, because return on your money, right, is not as important as return of your money. And cash is king, Gumbo Nation. Cash is king. All right, stick around. On the other side of the break, we're going to get into the 10 commandments when getting a mortgage. The 10 commandments. Love it. We cover it every single year. We're going to talk about that. If you've got any questions, get them in over at info@mortgagegumbo.com. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Steiner right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995, or you can shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. Home away from the show is mortgagegumbo.com, and snap, send, and save.com. Look, you can go over to, if you go to Mortgage Gumbo, top left, click on snap, send, and save. And, go there if you want to find out, kind of have a discussion on what some buying power is, stuff like that. But, look, eventually, it's like I talked to a client yesterday. Look, we can have all the conversations that we want, and I'm all for it. But eventually, look, we're going to have to get an application. Again, we'll do a soft poll, look at that, and kind of go from there for you. So, all right, let's get into our weekly segment we call Rate Watch. Got to hang out with my boy from Tito's last night, man. So had a couple of those flowing. So good stuff there. All right, 30-year, 7.10. So when we left you December 21st, it was at 7.04. 15, 6.49. Jumbo, 7.34. FHA, 6.42. And VA, 6.45. So that'll, and we'll push back the 10 Commandments. We'll get to that, either slam that in or we'll get to that. But so let's get into sort of, because the big question, hey, what are rates? Should I wait, right? We already talked about somebody, hey, what should I do? Should I wait for rates to go lower? And, like we were talking about earlier with the inventory, right? And 5 million people, more eligible buyers every 1%. We talked about inventory, right? And while the headlines say something, the data shows that the inventory's tight right now. Well, it's only going to get tighter, right, when rates go down, okay? There's upward pricing pressure, meaning right now, it's easier to negotiate with that seller. If you're coming in with a fair price, get no set. Why? Why is it easier to negotiate right now? Because it's you versus the seller. It's not you, the other guy, the other 5 renters, and the seller, right? It's one-on-one right now. So they're focused on your offer. And as dumb as this sounds, and I know it sounds dumb. It's not dumb, but it sounds dumb. As dumb as this sounds is elevated rates are a buyer's best friend, so to speak. And I know that sounds dumb. And I don't sit on a show and say, you should do this. And my job is just to provide the data. Anybody that works with me can tell you. Go look at all my reviews. I'm not a high-pressure guy. I give you the facts. We go through and we look at what's best for you. And as dumb as that sounds, higher rate is a buyer's best friend. But let's talk about sort of predictions where, hey, where's everything going to go, right? And I was going to pull out and show that absolutely everybody that predicted rates last year was wrong. But I'm like, what difference does that make? Because in reality, it's impossible. There's so many factors. And how are you supposed to predict rates when you've got one jobs report? Yesterday, the jobs report was down. They predicted 218,000 jobs. And it was less than that, right? And yet they go, well, it's less, but it's not as bad as it could have been. So now that's the measure, whereas a year ago it was, oh, my God, these jobless claims, this isn't good. So there's so much going on, but it's impossible to predict this stuff. There's too many algorithms. There's too much manipulation. We'll talk about, and I told you in March we'll come out. We'll see what the true measure, how many jobs were overstated in 2024. Through 3 quarters, it was 1.2 million jobs. So through 3 quarters, through third quarter of 2023 through third quarter of 2024, 1.25 million more jobs were initially reported than what actually are out there. That's 100,000 jobs a month. So we don't know. So it's impossible to predict. Okay? So, but here's some of the numbers, folks. And this is for all those who are waiting for 3, 4, even 5%. It's just not there. It's not there. And do I want it to be there? Heck yeah. But when you look at it, the average, Redfin, 6.8%, Housing Wire, 6.6, Goldman Sachs, 6.5, Mortgage Bankers Association, 6.5, Fannie, 6.45, Wells Fargo, 6.41, National Association of Home Builders, 6.36, Realtor.com, 6.3, National Association of Realtors, 6%. I mean, I think when you look at the three lowest, it's National Association of Realtors, Realtor.com, National Association of Home Builders. I think that's more wishful thinking. But that's the average. So what you're looking at, Gumbo Nation, is you're not getting 5% rates this year. You're not. And do I think there'll be an opportunity to maybe buy down, get into this, that, or the other? Probably so. Probably so. But at what cost? Right? If you're waiting for it to get into the 6.5 or whatever that range is, what is it costing you? Because we've already shared, based on homes sitting on the market and stale inventory, folks are willing to sit on a house without giving them away. Right? So those are the challenges that are going to come to you. So when you're looking at, hey, right now we're at a 7.1 and the average here is 6.5. What is that going to cost you? What are we looking at there? And we have tools, and I did some calculation. You know what? Let's take a break because I'm trying to figure out, hey, do this, try to get into 10 command. Look, the show ain't going nowhere. We'll be back next week. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day. So, but I want to kind of explain because some of you might be like, oh, poop. I was hoping he was going to say 4.5%. And again, these are forecast, right? But I want to explain to you where it is today. And if you go, hey, I want to wait till 6, I'm going to show you what and this is what separates Mortgage Gumbo. Because I'm going to show you as a lender, the same thing I do with my realtor partners as well. I'm going to show you why the cost of waiting, what it could be. So stick around. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue talking about 2025's mortgage rate forecast and what it could cost and what is the cost of waiting. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Steiner right here on iHeartRadio. Happy New Year, Gumbo Nation. 504-260-0995. 'cause weekends were. Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Steiner right here on iHeartRadio. All right, so again, let's kind of get into our 2025 mortgage rate forecast. And again, Gumbo Nation, this is impossible to predict. There's so many alternating factors. I mean, if you go back and you look at September, I mean, everybody was waiting for Powell to speak. And we kept saying on Mortgage Gumbo, he's going to drop it by 50 basis points. Go back and listen to the shows leading to that. And we were like, you don't have to wait for that. That is not going to necessarily lead to lower rates. And actually, since then, it's not even about what he's doing with the rates. It's what he's saying, right? So it causes hesitation. It causes the bond market to make adjustments, right? And so when you're looking at that, there's so many alternating factors. Job loss, where are we at with certain things? Now, since the election, is there not getting political here, but is there sort of a sense of like, okay, hey, I think things are going to get better. A lot of people I'm talking to are like, all right, well, I think my job's safer now, right? A little bit more of a capitalistic approach. So it's impossible. So, when you've got, like I said, Redfin, predicting 6.8, Housing Wire 6.6, Goldman 6.5, Mortgage Bankers 6.5, Fannie 6.4, National Association of Home Builders 6.3, Realtor 6.3, National Association of Realtors 6% is the average. It's impossible. So if you take all of them and you just throw in, all right, hey, let's take 6.5%. And this is what I want you to understand, Gumbo Nation. And you hear these numbers and you go, I would love to be on here going 5. Love it. Love it. The amount of volume that picked up when we were at 6 point, heck, I'm looking at it right here. When we were sitting back in September and August leading up saying 627, 614, 615. Well, there was a lot of volume. We just talked about that. That's why your home sales went up. But I want you to kind of keep this in mind. And this is just general, right? And this is something I do with my buyers and with my realtor partners to help them understand on why the offer, how you need to make it. Because return of your money is more important than return on your money, so to speak. But listen to this. So let's take a $300,000 mortgage, and we're just talking about principal and interest. Taxes and insurances we'll deal with, right? At today's rate, say 7.1. Your principal and interest payment on that is $2,016. At the average that they're predicting of 6.5%, because you can't time it out perfectly. You can't. Your payment at that same $300,000 loan with a rate of 6.5%, well, your payment goes down to $1,896. Gumbo Nation, that's $120 a month. $120. And I'm not here to tell you $120 is important or anything like that. But if you take the average that the home is going, that $300,000 in 1 year, that home's going to appreciate on an average of 7% appreciation, that's 21 grand. So let's say it takes 12, hey, let's go 18 months to refinance. So you paid $120 more for waiting to get to that 6.5%. So if you take 18 months, it's $2,100. Say a refi costs you $3 grand, right? Get a new appraisal, blah, blah, blah. With us, when you buy with us, you refinance, we don't charge any lender fees. So with us, it's not going to cost you anything to refinance. But you got new title, stuff like that. So let's just use $3 grand. Plus that 21.6. So you're looking at right at $5 grand. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, you're making $14,000 in a 12, 18-month period. Is that worth it? That's what you need to be looking at right now and trying to determine. affordability is one thing, and whether it's a $300,000 home or hey, you can afford a 250, 120, 80,000, a million, whatever that number is, it all comes into play. And what you got to look at, folks, is this. Home buying, it's the long game, and it's a wealth building tool. So if I came to you and said, hey, give me $120 a month, and I'm going to turn around and in 18 months, I'm going to give you back, or give me $2,100, I'm going to give you back $15,000 and change. Would you do that? I'd gladly invest $2,000 to get $15,000.
2 minutes.
Who wouldn't? So that, Gumbo Nation, is what I want you to kind of look at and understand in the conversations we're having with our clients, to sort of just to get it, and understanding that the rate is a number on a piece of paper, but even at a 0.5% difference, we'll get you in that house. That $120, we're not going to lose a house over it. We'll make some debt disappear. We'll do some things for you to make that happen. And that's what we're doing for our clients. That's why we're winning. That's why, thanks to you, again, we're Scotsman's Guide as one of the top producers in the country. That's why we're the number one retail lender in the country. Because we back up what we're going to do. Folks, make sure you tune in tomorrow. Oh, no, Monday. Check out your boy Dave at 11 a.m. on Fox. Go see him next week at the, what is it, Dave? The NOLA.
Fan Expo New Orleans at the Boreal Convention Center.
There we go. Fan Expo. Go check them out. Told me during a break, hey, Dave also officiates weddings, man. Give him a call. You want the weekend? I mean, this dude's a local celebrity. Let him come do your wedding as well, man. Check it out. So, hey, Happy New Year's, Gumbo Nation. We'll be here. You need anything, you know where to go. It's mortgagegumbo.com is the home away from the show. And follow us on all the social media sites. So many people, over a dozen people hanging out with us right now. Been about 3-4 dozen hanging out doing the show here on social media. Plus all y'all driving
30,
around.
30.
Be safe. It's a crazy world out there. We just saw that. Prayers go out to all those folks. So your home away from the show is mortgagegumbo.com. Go out this week. Tell one person about Mortgage Gumbo. And until next week, Gumbo Nation, keep stirring the pot.